because it's in all of our interests to make sure that they're safe, because we got family that cross the road and all these other things, and we just want to make sure that they're safe. We're not looking for a Formula One driver. We're just looking for someone who, do you know what I mean? We're just looking, for me, I'm just looking for someone who can get me from A to B safely. And if that's what they can do, then by all means, it's all good.
So when you transitioned from being did you go into being a driver examiner from policing? What was the transition like, and why did you transition?
I've done a few bits, because I've been a bus driver. I've done that. I've done lots of different things, and I've done lots of driving. I've done lots of sort of advanced driving. So when it became sort of, a couple of people mentioned to me about doing something like that, like the examining. So I applied and I passed an advanced driving test and I got in. It was cool.
Okay. So what made you transition from the police force to what you're doing now? You joined it. You wanted some discipline. You wanted to be a role model. What made the transition from out of policing?
Family, really. Like I've got 3 beautiful kids, quite young, and for me, as I mentioned earlier, from being someone who had never met his dad before, I wanted to be really hands-on with my children. I wanted to be there every day and see them grow up and just see them every day. And it's beautiful. Like I love my kids. Like I see my kids every day, how they're evolving, how intelligent they are, and everything. It just fills me with happiness. So I would rather be around like my wife and kids as much as I can. So I'd rather do a job that allows me to do that.
Yeah, rather than being in risk potentially of.
Yeah, it's the risk, but also it's the unsocial bit. Like when you work in the police or jobs like that, you tend to work shift work, so you tend to find that you're off when they're not there. So you're kind of like ships in the night. You don't see each other. So for me, I wanted to be in a position where I'm doing a job that allows me to spend time with the people that matter. Yeah. I don't want to be like, I don't want my kids to get up and be like, yeah, dad was around, but we didn't really see him because he was working all the time. And for me, that's not an option. Like, I don't want to make life's all about choices. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, if any choices you make, you've got to be able to live with them. Do you know what I mean? Because at some point, all of us are going to be in a position where we're on our deathbed, and the last thing that leaves us is our regrets. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I want to try and minimize my regrets as much as I can.
That's awesome. That's powerful, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about your family. How long have you been married?
So I've been married now 4 years, but me and my wife have been together for 13 years. Or just
nice.
I think she's going to correct me. She'll probably watch this and be like, no, I've got it wrong.
Your wife's name, if you don't mind sharing?
Danielle,
right. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
I know I've seen some of her likes or replies on Instagram, but I couldn't quite remember.
Yeah,
so how did you guys meet?
Just for the night out. She was a barmaid in a bar, and I was just a cheeky London chap who just started talking to her, and the rest is history, thankfully. And we've since had 3 beautiful kids. I got 1 boy, 2 girls.
Nice.
And I don't tend to put a lot of my personal stuff on my channel and on my Instagram. That tends to be sort of like a separate thing for me. But yeah, like you know yourself from having a family, there's nothing that would change you as a man than having your own family.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like when I was younger, I was quite volatile. I could be volatile at times, but as I've got older and I've got people that depend on me. Now I'm chilled, because you can't behave a certain way because you stand to lose too much. Do you know what I mean? You stand, and they need you. Do you know what I mean? You can't just be impulsive. You can't make stupid decisions. You've got to be considered in what you do and what you say, because people need you. It's not about you anymore, is it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And I bet you get unchill pretty quick, and if something comes between you and your family, right? Like I remember.
The thing is it's like anything, isn't it?
I got to tell you a story. I remember I was in Niagara Falls, Ontario. There's a Niagara Falls, USA. So I was on the Canada side, obviously.
Yeah.
And they have a place called Clifton Hill, and it's just this little hamlet, if you will, where there's just, I mean, it is crazy the amount of stuff that goes on. There's there's casinos, there's shops, there's a lot of lot of stuff, and there's a few haunted houses there. And my wife and I were walking down the street with my daughter. I think she was old enough to walk, so she might be about 2 years old. And do you remember the Scream movie, like the weird mask on the Scream movie?
With the masks.
There was a guy on the street, and he was just outside of the haunted house thing that he was a part of or whatever. And I'm walking, and he's going up to people intentionally to kind of scare them or freak them out. And I said to my wife, "Let's cross the road." And my wife's like, "Why? What's going on?" I said, "We need to cross the road." She said, "Why? What's going on?" Because I said, "If that guy moves anywhere toward us and threatens or scares our daughter, I'm going to punch him in the face." I already had my fist clenched, like I was ready. Yeah. Anything that comes between you and your family, right? Like you just...
Listen, at the end of the day, that's just your human instinct, isn't it? When it comes to your family, like all bets are off. So like, what you try to do was probably what I would do now. I would try and take myself out of the situation just because I know what could possibly happen. Yeah. And I don't want that to happen. Do you know what I mean? All any of us want, you could ask, you just want a quiet life. What you want to do is be able to live your life, enjoy it as best you can, look after and spend time with the people you love. That's it. That's all anyone wants, isn't it? No one wants any problems or drama, but there are some people in the world that seem to sort of get off on that sort of stuff. And it tends to be people that don't have much going on in their life. Generally, they don't have an awful lot going on, so they got this time available to them that they want to fill by doing stupid stuff.
Yeah. So when you said Danielle was a barmaid, does that mean she was like a waitress, or she was a bartender? No, what's barmaid mean?
Yeah, bartender. So she would work sort of like, you've been to like pubs like we'd have you get loads of them in the UK. She was just a barmaid behind the bar.
Okay.
And I just started talking to her, and then that was it.
So how long after did you like go out on your first date?
So she at first.
You don't know the answer, do you? Let's save them. Save them.
So, I'm going to be honest, because like the thing is with me, as you were saying earlier, the thing is with me, I'll always be honest. Which is also why sometimes when me and Adrian used to do our lives, you got to think about what you're saying, not in a bad way, but sometimes you say things and it can be misinterpreted and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with my wife, when we first started talking, we didn't really hit it off straight away. It was one of them ones where we exchanged numbers, but nothing really happened for a little while. And then eventually we managed to go out and the thing is, I feel like when you're with someone that you want to spend your life with, you want to look after them more than anything. I feel like that's the overwhelming feeling you get when you're around them, is that you just want to look after them. And I knew that with my wife early on, that I thought, you know what, this is a special girl. Like, I wanted to look after her. Even if we weren't together, I wanted to make sure she was okay and she was safe and stuff.
Wow, that's cool. So when was it that you decided, this is the one that I want to look after, in your words?
Yeah.
How long did that, like when you first started to formally date or whatever, like you talked, you exchanged numbers, then it was a bit of, but once it started, how long was it before you went, yeah, this is the girl?
I kind of knew quite early on, to be honest. I kind of knew, she said a lot more things to me than I said to her, but I knew how I generally, because I just thought she was a good girl. Do you know what I mean? I liked how she carried herself. I liked the way she behaved. I liked her morals. I liked the way she thought about family, and loads of these things are things that you look for in people, innit? Whether it be your partner, whether it be for friends, because you want to try and surround yourself by similar-minded people, don't you? So, and I think also I like to surround myself by good people as well, because I find like it makes me feel like a better person than being around people that I used to kind of grew up with. No disrespect to them, but we kind of they weren't always the sort of people you want around for dinner around your house.
Right.
And as I've got older, I like to surround myself with just nice people that you know where you stand, you know where they're coming from. There's nothing sinister, and if they've got a problem, they'll talk to you, and that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you propose?
Just down on one knee, jobby.
Did you go out for dinner or anything like that? Anything? Mine is a horrible story. I'll tell you mine. It's absolutely horrible. It's horrible. But let me hear yours. So did you go out for dinner, or were you just together at home?
I feel like I want to hear yours first. Because
okay. So it was. This is ridiculous. So I knew I wanted to marry my wife Patty. You know, like I knew, and I had a ring, and I had it for a while, and I had planned, you know, kind of a nice outing with her. If to know me, it's like if I have something that I want to give to someone, I can't wait. It's just if someone has something that they want to give me, I need to know what it is. I find out. I usually find out. Oh, honestly, I like every Christmas gift for the last 20 years. I've known what it is. You know, I'm just that. I don't know what it is, but I'll ask a certain question, and the way they answer, I'm like, oh yeah, man. And so I'm just that way. So I had this ring, and I couldn't wait to give it to her. So this is really pathetic. So I went home. It was Halloween, and we were in the car.
Nice time to propose.
We were in the car on our way home. Now that weekend, like I said, we were gonna go. I was gonna take her out for dinner. We were gonna go for a walk on the beach or whatever. Blah blah blah. I had this somewhat planned out, but I couldn't wait. I just couldn't wait. So we're sitting in the car. We might have even been in traffic. I can't quite remember if I might have pulled off to the side of the road, and I. It's so pathetic. I said trick or treat. I said trick or treat because it was Halloween, right? She's like, huh? I said trick or treat. And she didn't know how to answer or whatever. And so I just pulled out the box and gave it to her. That's how I proposed, sitting in the driver's seat of my van or car or whatever it was that I was driving. It was pitiful. But I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to do it. I've always, like, if I get my wife a Christmas present, I tell her, she'll be like, so I said, if you ask me one more question, I'll tell you what it is, and I'll go get it for you right now. Like, don't push it. Like, because she'll try and do the guessing game, and I'm like, I'll give it to you right now. I really want to give it to you right now. So don't ask me another question. So yeah, it was pitiful. It wasn't romantic. She was confused. She did say yeah. Like, she went trick or treat. She's like, huh? Like, it was horrible. So that was mine.
That sounds,
yours has got to top that. It has to. If it doesn't, then
Chris,
I'm hanging up the call.
To be honest, that sounds like a winner. Anyway, that sounds. And the thing is, you've got a great story out of it as well.
Well, it would have been one thing if I actually had a treat. You know, like I had a buddy of mine. He put his ring in a Kinder Egg or something like that. Made sure it was inside of a coin dispenser thing. Made sure it was going to be the one that fell out. Like me, it was.
How would you do that? I don't know.
Well, he worked it out with like it was at a department store, so he worked it out with the owner of the store. Like, I'm gonna, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I want to, so they opened up the machine for him. He took everything out. He put the thing in the bottom, so it would be in the feeder. Put the rest of the stuff on top. And he's like, oh, let's get one of these or whatever. It's like, dude, that's awesome. I said trick or treat, and my wife looked at me like I had 3 heads, like she didn't know what was going on.
But could you imagine his face if what came out was just a little plastic ring?
Yeah, that piece of or I'm sure he guarded it too. Like after the he made sure. Could you imagine, like, you leave for 5 minutes and someone comes along, just thinks they're getting a gumball or something. They take off with his ring.
There's some little kid wanting to go on the machine, he's sort of ushering them away.
No, they made sure that they might have even put an out of order. So I don't know how he worked out all the details, but that's essentially what he did. It was pretty cool. So what's yours? What's yours? How you got down on one knee, but were you out?
So like I say, where we've been together such a long time, and by which time we've already got kids and stuff, we didn't do things really very conventional. But it was kind of more. So my mother-in-law and my wife, they just started planning us getting married. They literally just started planning it. So, and by which time I hadn't done anything. So they taken the initiative to start looking at venues.
That's awesome.
Yeah? So and the thing is, now I'm on the back foot. So now I'm trying to be quite clever in terms of how I propose and stuff, because if I just say, if I make a big point of it, she's going to know it's coming. Yeah. So what I've tried doing is I've tried being a bit cute. So anyway, I managed to get a babysitter for the kids. But I think my son was still at home, but he was out or something. I don't remember. But so basically, I cooked. I cooked indoors. I didn't make a big thing. I said to her, "Babe, listen, just have a bit of time to yourself, like whatever. I'm just going to do a bit of cooking. We'll just chill the film, or just sort of playing it down." So, and then once she'd done everything, I put a couple her favourite song on, and as she walked into the front room, I had it all decorated, and I was just down on one knee with her engagement ring. Because then
that's a good
she
story.
Didn't see it coming. But she didn't see it coming, which was the main thing I wanted, because the reaction with her crying and stuff, I felt like that was what I wanted, because that's kind of, it's overwhelming at that point, isn't it? Because when you propose, it's kind of, they don't really see it coming. So that's kind of what I was going for, and I kind of got it, even though lots of my friends and stuff thought I wouldn't, because she knows it's coming, she's waiting for it now. But I managed to just about pull it out of the bag. I was quite happy that I managed to sort of catch her off guard.
Were you ring shopping too? Like, did you have an idea of what kind of ring she liked or whatever?
Yeah, I knew the stuff that she liked and stuff. I still would like to get her one a bit more expensive, but also I want to get her one made. So I want to use the ring that we've got plus add a few bits. But we'll do that later. Like I said, forever is we're not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Forever is a long time. So I mean, we'll work it out in the future. I'm going to be moving soon as well. So my wife just got a job. So in the next sort of couple of months, there's going to be a lot of change in my house. So we're going to be moving. I won't be in London anymore. We're going to be moving out of London. So there's lots and lots of change coming. So in terms of other things, there's certain things that will take priority for now.
Right. Are you still going to be doing are you still going to be able to do your driver examining job?
Yeah. So I'll still do my job. I'll probably commute into the test center I work at now for a while. But the plan will probably be to get a transfer and work from a different test center.
Nice.
That's probably what I'll do. So but
that's exciting.
It's good. Like I say, there's going to be a lot of change in our household, and all for the better. We went to look at some properties in the area yesterday. So it was quite a busy day yesterday. So we looked up a few places where we can move to and what properties are available. And
are you hoping to build a house, or are you just going to buy an existing house?
Yeah, it will just be a purpose-made house. Now, I feel like nowadays, in terms of trying to build a house, especially in the UK with space, and because obviously, as you know, UK is very small, so there's not, and we're so vastly populated. Trying to find an area to buy land, get planning permission, get the property built, it would just be a nightmare. By the time we manage to get all that done, my kids are probably going to be married themselves. So it's probably best to try and do it all. But it's going to be interesting the next couple of months. I'm hoping to still be able to get 2 uploads out on my channel in that time, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that might be tricky. Yeah,
it could become a little bit difficult just because working full time, having a family, and recording and getting enough recording to put 2 videos out a week still. Because I know people don't believe it, because until I started making videos myself, I didn't realize how long it took to make a video.
Yeah.
It takes, for me, an average, and one of my videos take between 6 and 8 hours.
Yeah.
To do one of my videos.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. And even mine, because I don't have I got 3 lights that I use coming from different angles when I do hands under the camera and stuff. And that takes me a while to set everything up. I don't have it all out because I haven't got the space. So there's lots of things, and getting a watch in, getting the specs done, spending time with it, coming up with my pants and pucker and stuff, which I don't think is always very popular, actually, my pants and pucker section.
That's the best. I love it.
People seem to take umbrage sometimes to the things that I say, though. They seem like they're like, but sorry, you didn't mention this. I was like, well, because I was a bit indifferent to it. I didn't really think it to be bad or good. Do you know what I mean? Things that I put on there are things that I particularly like, or things that I don't, or I think could have been done a little bit better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, the reason I went for pants or pucker was because I'm a London boy. They're 2 expressions that I would use generally. And also, rather than likes and dislikes, which I think most people do, I wanted to put my own little slant on it in terms of something a bit different.
I think, because we, other than other channels like Jody Moans and Niggles, there isn't a lot of other channels that have like something. I look forward to it all the time. I think it's great.
Cheers, man.
And so let's we've been talking now for just about an hour and 15 minutes almost. The time has flown, man, and I have enjoyed it, and we'll chin wag.
It's been wicked.
we'll chinwag for a couple minutes after maybe, but I can't, because my memory, one of the things about me is my memory is terrible. But I gave you an express. Anytime your kids get sick now, you have to tell them they've got the Queen's biscuit. Oh, you got a touch of the Queen's biscuit. Well, don't worry, a couple of days you'll be over that. But you have, there was a couple of, I can't even remember what they were, but some of the sayings that are unique maybe to you or just like in your reviews, like I just can't remember what the last one was, but God, did it make me laugh when you
do you know what it is? Do you know when I do my reviews and stuff, and even when I'm at work, because I often have quite a strong London accent when I talk, so I do really have to try and enunciate stuff. Sometimes I have to take a second to try and talk clearer, because sometimes even when I'm at work, people are like, what did you just say?
Yeah,
because you'll use sort of terms that maybe not used to. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, well, I think when you talked about sharing this one, like it made me laugh. You said like sharing the advertisement. Was it share the beans out of it? Is that what you said? Or,
yeah, yeah.
Like it was just, but it was one of those expressions. Do you remember some of the expressions that you've used? Because like, I wish I remembered it now, but it was just so friggin' funny. I even when I replied in the comment of your video, it was just.
Yeah, to be honest, I think sometimes, because I don't know about you, but I don't script anything. I've got kind of the way the sort of general structure of it is the same in terms of the way I produce, the way I do it, and I end on stuff. But in terms of stuff I say in between that, I never know what I'm going to say. And the thing is, so sometimes I listen back to it and I'm like, what am I on about? Did I say that? What am I talking about? Like,
oh man!
But I think that's what makes it organic, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to be too scripted, but like I say, that's each to their own. Some people, that's how they work best. But I don't want to look like I'm reading off a bit of paper, because I think sometimes also that can come across as a little bit wooden, and I don't really want to do that.
That's been the challenge for me. And there was a video of mine that I did a long time ago on one of the Timex watches that I had. And when I first started doing watch reviews, I didn't know what the heck I was talking about, really. Like, I'd watch other people's reviews. They'd talk about lug to lug. And I'm like, what the heck's lug to lug? I got to look that up, you know? Or, and just different technical aspects of the watch. And I used a lot of, and I... same. Oftentimes, like... So this comment in my Timex video was like... it was a real nasty comment. It was honest, but it was nasty. It was like, this was a bunch of and with a little bit of a watch thrown in there. So I'm like, so what I did was I took that and then I started to, part of the lengthy process for me in doing some of the videos is, I don't know if you do this, but like I'll put the video clips together to edit it, but I'll listen to it all. And after that comment, I was like, I got to take the and does out, where some of them, because some of them would be like, and then at the end of the I'd smack my lips. That's the other thing. And lip smacking and a little bit of a watch. And I'm like, okay. So I took one video that I did, and I'm trying to trim my videos down. Adrian and I, somewhere in Time Watch Reviews, have kind of been joking back and forth because like, my coffee got cold watching your video. Like my Christopher Ward one was almost 20 minutes, but anyway, I trimmed my last one down to under 15, and I sent Adrian a message. I said, I shit you not, your coffee's going to stay hot when you watch my next video. But part of the editing process for a few of them was like, holy crap, I do say and a lot, and I was trimming them out.
And really?
Yeah, just because of that. And it was a valid criticism, because the next video that I filmed, when I was listening back to it, I'm like, holy crap, like I do say it all. And the reason,
but that's what we're saying though, isn't it? What we said earlier in terms of sometimes I don't think anything is gained from being rude to anyone, to be honest. But I mean, in terms of someone saying something, it allows you to reflect, doesn't it? It allows you to reflect on it and think, actually, I can see where you're coming from.
So for me, what I do now is I do a lot less ad-libbing. I do ad-lib, but I actually do have a script, because if I'm reading it, So it's not like I have a copy and paste system. Like I think about the watch that I'm reviewing, and I'll type it out now. And the reason I do that is because when I'm doing the review and I'm reading it, I'm not saying and anymore.
You know, every time you're saying I want to smile.
And
what I do is
I smack my lip. Oh my goodness! But I started doing, and I ad lib a little bit as well. Obviously, I don't just, but the script part gives me something to basically say that will prevent me as a result of having it. So it takes me, like you say, 6 hours. It doesn't take me quite 6 hours, I don't think. But it does take 3 to 4 by the time you film the watch, photograph the watch, kind of spend time with the watch, and then think about what you're going to say. Like, it probably takes me just as long, perhaps, just the thought process going into it. And then when you get to it used to take me a long time when I didn't have, and I only did it for the last 4 or 5 videos where I decided I'm going to write out what I want to say so that I say it and I don't, and because there's been some reviews where I'm like, oh shit, I totally missed that. I totally missed that. So for me, it's actually going to help me present better, and I'm hopefully going to do it in a way that it doesn't sound scripted. Like my last 4 or 5, I had a script, and that took a lot.
I wouldn't have noticed, to be honest.
I took a lot of the and ums out just as a result of having something to go by.
I think with mine, the reason I've sort of ended up on the structure I've got is also the same sort of thing, because I was going, because the reason you say and ums is to fill the void, isn't it? To fill the awkward silence. Yeah. So that's kind of why you say those things. So, and I was finding, because for me, I was so keen to get my hands under the camera that I didn't really think through what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So
same here.
So for me, that's why I've fallen upon my sort of structure so that I know, regardless if I go off on a tangent, I've covered everything, because I know that I'm doing all the steps that I normally would do. So it makes it a lot more coherent rather than just sort of going off talking and then you think afterwards, oh man, I didn't even mention this. And it'll be something quite big that you didn't even mention. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of helped me as far as think the process through. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about that. Because I would forget things. And there's been times where I've had sections of my video that I totally forgot to even put in the actual video.
Really?
Yeah. Like a couple of the ones that were less than 20 minutes. They're ones that I've forgotten to put something in sometimes. And I'd be watching it back after I uploaded it, and I went, holy shit, I just missed an entire section of something. It seemed to flow together okay, but I missed an entire section on, like, whether it was a sapphire crystal or the loom or something. Like, it was like, I'm like, a lot of people don't realize, like, you're not just putting a camera on the thing and then going. It's
no. There's a lot, and like I say, it gives you, when you're in that sort of sphere, you get more of an appreciation for what other people are doing. And that's why, like there's lots of other channels, and I think I've mentioned this before, there's lots of channels that I watch, but I don't necessarily leave comments very often. See, I did it there as well. I don't tend
to... and the lip smack too. Way to go, pal.
See, I'm learning. So I don't tend to leave comments all the time, even for you and other people. I watch all the videos and I look at them and think, I like bits of the watch, and like the Gavox one I watched. I had, because before you had the Gavox, I've never heard of Gavox before, if I'm honest. So watching it on your channel was pretty cool. But like I said, I don't comment all the time just because I don't know. I like the video, watch it, but I don't often leave comments. So but there's lots of channels that I watch as well that I just don't leave comments very often.
Well, it's almost impossible to do it because, I try and comment on all the videos that I do watch. But I don't get to watching everybody's videos every single week because there's just not enough time.
Life gets in the way, innit?
Yeah, between just doing your regular thing and then your own videos or whatever, it's, I get to watching. I will say every video I watch, I'll try and throw a quick comment in. Yeah. But I don't. If I haven't thrown a comment in, it's just because I haven't gotten to that video. And sometimes
A funny story, Chris. Do you know what I did with yours recently? There was the one I commented the second time because I didn't realize that I commented the first time. Because I so infrequently comment on someone's video that I just took it as I didn't comment on your video, and I put a comment in. And then there's another comment of mine from a week or so before. I was like, "Oh my god, I better delete this comment."
And see, and I wouldn't have even noticed. I probably said, "Thanks for watching, mate."
Honestly, it was so. But the thing is, I managed to delete it pretty quickly because I felt like a bit of an idiot. I was like, "Oh yeah, I thought it looked familiar," but I watched the video for a second time, and I was like, so I sent a comment that looked pretty much identical to the first comment that I wrote. So I thought you might think I had dementia or something, so I just quickly deleted it because I was like, "Oh my god."
Not dementia, that's just also, demented. That's different.
Yeah, well there you go. That's why oftentimes also like because I so infrequently comment that sometimes when I do throw a comment, I'm pretty sure I haven't commented already, but this time I got it completely wrong.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing. There's, like you said, there's quite a few channels out there that aren't getting the whatever. And a lot of them are production-wise. When you compare it to like Miguel or David Schwartz, like their production quality is just it just blows me away. I'm like,
very
holy
good.
moly, like
very, very good, yeah.
And so, but some of my favorite channels are just the simple, here's the watch, and they're just talking about the watch, and they clearly love watches and want to talk about watches.
I think there's a space for both, to be honest. I think you've got to be true to yourself, and you can only do what you're comfortable with. It's your channel, isn't it? And I think obviously it's nice to be able to have really nice videography. And so, like you said, I think Miguel and David are two people that you're right. I think they produce fantastic. Some of their videography and stuff, and some of their photography is incredible. Like it's very, very good. I can do that. I'm not at a point in my journey on my channel where I could do it anywhere near as good. So I try and just do what I can where I can. And the thing is, I hope, like I said earlier, I hope in the future I will be able to add some of these elements into my video, like a little bit of macro and stuff that I put in now. These are things that I kind of over time you get a bit more proficient at, and you'll start putting it in, hopefully. But like you say, some of these channels, some of the stuff they do is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I watched them and I'm like, that is really cool. And then also because I know the work that goes into it, I'm also like, wow, that is impressive. That is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it's, but at in the same token, I just like the simple, here's the watch, someone that's, passionate about the hobby, passionate about the watch. Their videos will get better, I'm sure, as they grow and whatnot. Like,
of course,
I think I've told you, like my very first video, I didn't have anything. I didn't have a really good computer. I got one. I was blessed to have one given to me. But I used my belt clip on my phone and I hung it off of my t-shirt. So this is what I look like. And then so when I bent over, the phone would and I'd have to make sure it wasn't falling off and the t-shirt was pulling down, And I had a cord. I had a cord going from the phone to the computer, so I could only sit as far as a phone cord length, like 3 feet away from the computer. So the computer was off to and then I had to see what I was doing because I couldn't, see it through my phone. It was horrible.
But that's the thing though. Before you start it, you look at it and think, oh, I can do that. No, yeah, I can do that.
That looks easy enough.
To be honest, everyone's a backseat driver, in it. So everyone looks at us and be like, yeah, I can do that. But they don't really understand. And the one thing I didn't understand, I'll be honest, my friend Adrian over at Somewhere in Time, he pointed me in the right direction. The single most important part of what we do is lighting. Lighting is everything. If you don't have decent lighting, then you can have the best camera in the world and it will all be for nothing. Yeah. You need to have decent light. If you've got decent lighting, then you're halfway there, really. Because for me, but for a good few months into my channel, I never had proper lighting. And my visuals, I was never happy with it, but I didn't know what to do. And then Adrian showed me some different lightings. And now, like I said, I use 3 separate lights when I record now, just to try and capture everything. You can see everything. And because it's so important, so important.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. Like I say, so yeah, it's a journey, isn't it? Like I say, it's all a journey, and we're all trying to do what we can do. And like I say, and I think what we do is also it helps people, which is the most important part for me, because so a lot of watches that I feature are not watches that people can go and have a look at. So I owe it to them, and also, to be honest, whether a watch gets sent in for the channel, I don't have to pay. Whether I do have to pay, I'm gonna always keep it the same. Like, I'm gonna say what I see, because someone's gonna go and buy that off the back of what I've said. And if I've been dishonest, I just don't think that's cool.
Yeah.
Or if I've omitted to say anything, I just don't think that's cool.
Yeah, and my favorite part, there's two favorite parts, and we'll kind of close with this. We'll talk about your favorite parts of the hobby and of doing the YouTube journey. I was in the grocery store 2 weeks ago or last week, and I was grumpy. Got to admit, I
can't imagine you being grumpy, Chris. I can't.
Oh gosh, you should do it. I should switch chairs with my wife and let you talk to her for half an hour. My tone, telling you. But I don't like grocery shopping. It's not my favorite thing to do, and I had to go in and do it. And I was actually having a decent enough time there. But at the checkout, there was a guy. So in our checkout, there's like your till, and then there's two conveyor belts, so that when one customer is kind of done checking out, the next customer, their groceries go on the other conveyor belt. So there's two side by side. So I was on the right hand side one, and I'm packing and I look over, and this guy's he's clearly got a Seiko on of some sort.
Okay.
Like the case shape, like I was just like, and I'm not even packing my groceries anymore. I'm just kind of like waiting for him to move his wrist over to his bags, and I'm like, So finally I said to him, "Is that a Seiko 5 you're wearing?" And you should have seen, like, it was like his eyes just went, "Why, yes it is."
Yeah.
He was like, "I was looking at your watch too, and I was wearing my Patty, the newer Seiko Solar Patty that I got." He was like, "I was looking at your watch too, but I thought it might be weird if I asked you." I was like, "No, man, it's not weird at all. What do you got?" And he had a Seiko 5, kind of like when they discontinued the SKX. It was the Seiko 5 SKX series, 100 meters, blue dial, beautiful watch. And we geeked out on watches for like 10 minutes or so, just while we were bagging our groceries and walking it. Love that. Just,
that's what,
and then I got an email from a guy, merliontime@gmail.com. I'll give out my email. Usually, sometimes people will make a comment and like, "Oh, I got this watch," but I'm like, "Email it to me. I want to see a picture of it." And there was a guy that emailed me, and it was about LV's watch, the VBAO, and he's from Australia. He's making a trip to Vancouver, Canada. He saw my review. He's buying a watch and having it shipped to where he's staying in Vancouver to get it. And he was like, "I really thank you for your review and for, especially for the one that you did on the straps, putting different straps on it." And for me to know that I helped LV get a sale because he gave me the watch, it's like, the fact that I could help him do that was just like a beautiful moment. Like, I was just like, "Oh, that's awesome." He sent me the email. And so and third, just interacting like this with people in the hobby and that, and meeting people like you and others. Yeah, it's just been opened up a new world to me, and I've really loved it over the last couple of years. So what are your favorite things about the hobby?
I think the watch, there's, like I said earlier, there's some cool people in the watch community. I kind of had a relatively bad experience early on with this, so I've become a little bit more difficult to interact with, I'll be honest. I've taken a step back a little bit in terms of engaging, and just because you end up with a bad taste in your mouth. Do you know what I mean? But there's some cool people. There's lots of videos that I watch, and I'm like, I like that, and it gives you ideas to maybe do something not similar, but of the same sort of thing. And to be honest, you know what? It's going to sound my favorite part of the whole thing is finding a watch that I think looks really cool and bringing it to life. Is basically getting a watch in that I see pictures of. I buy one, get it come in, and just spend time with it and get the process cracking in terms of because the video don't make itself. Do you know what I mean? So just bringing that watch to camera and then bring it to people that watch my channel. And if it leads to someone liking it and buying one, then that's cool. Do you know what I mean? And that's just through me looking stuff up, because I spend hours and hours and hours looking at watches. Yeah. Hours. Like, literally, if I'm not... So, like I said, my job now is officially like a part-time job, to be honest. The amount of hours I put into my channel. Yeah. And I love it, to be honest. I really do enjoy it. I love it. And it does never stop. There's always watches that people email me and say, have you looked at this? Or I see one, I like that, and I look it up, and they'll be in my basket. And every so often, I'll pick it up. And when it comes in, sometimes you're like, yeah, that's really cool. And other times you're like, but it's not quite what I expected it to be. But but also, even if it's not what I expected it to be, it's also nice to be able to let someone else maybe not have to make that purchase, or make that purchase off the back of it. Do you understand what I mean? So they can have, they can get a sort of like a clearer view of the watch, because sometimes pictures don't really do a watch justice. Yeah. So sometimes it's nice. But yeah, I love the process, to be honest. Like, for me, I like getting a subscriber and stuff, but for me, like I say, my most important thing for me is just enjoying it, spending and trying to make as good and as coherent content as I can make. And I feel like if you focus on the content and enjoying it, everything else will be a byproduct of that anyway. Yeah. Oh, for sure. You understand what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, when I first started doing it for myself, and we'll close off the conversation. This has just been so good, man. We'll probably talk we'll talk for a couple minutes after we hit stop on the record here. Thanks for having me on. Like I say, I apologize that it's been a little bit. We've had to keep putting it back. Well, that's all right. The Queen's Biscuit is a bugger to deal with, man. It's... Exactly. Yeah. They say man flu's bad, but the Queen's Biscuit is a different animal. Absolutely. Yeah, man. It's been so fun, and I can't remember what I was just about to say. So, let's just say goodbye to the recording of this video. So if you aren't subscribed to Simon's channel, again, the link will be in the description. Watch the time. You can see his logo. It's just above his picture there on the video. That's awesome. And he's got his shirt that Danielle made him. Please go over and subscribe to his channel. You'll absolutely love what he does. He just does a great job. And hit me up too if you so choose to do so. That would be awesome. So yeah, I do that too. I'm like, click on the video right here, and I'm like, right here. Left is right, right is left. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and if you watched this whole thing, congratulations. If you made it to this part, you just won a Grand Seiko from Simon. Or whatever watch you're choosing. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody, for watching this episode. And it was longer than normal, but it was awesome for me anyway. And if you didn't like it, well, I did. So anyways, thanks, Simon, for doing this with me. Appreciate it, man. No problem. Thank you for having me on. Yeah.